good to go, Kevin.
Thank you. I'm going to call school committee meeting to order on Tuesday, February 10th. So we're now in open session. Now I'm going to hear a motion to go into executive session.
Yeah. Is it this last line? For the whole thing?
The whole thing?
It moved the school committee go into executive session under exemptions 2 and 3, discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. We're using this move to executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and discuss superintendent's contract and to reconvene in open session.
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call. Any discussion on the motion? See no discussion. We'll go into a roll call vote. Tom Markham.
Yes.
Pete Davis.
Yes.
Kevin Biscavolo.
Yes.
Stephen Ingalls.
Yes.
Melissa Quinn.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Tomlin, and I vote yes. Okay, we are now in executive session. We are planning to report to the WCAT studio in the Wakefield Memorial High School at 7 o'clock. So that should be when we should be reconvening an open session. All right, we are now going to log off. WCAT Studio in Wakefield Memorial High School for our open session. We have just exited executive session. The next item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Ask everyone to stand. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of our mission statement. The vision of the Wakefield Public Schools is to graduate students who are confident, lifelong learners, who are respectful and caring members of their community. Our mission is to prepare students for college, career, and community by providing a rich and challenging curriculum, high-quality instruction, and educational experiences that meet their individual needs and interests. Next item on the agenda is our Student Advisory Council. And I think, do we have any students? I see a student on screen today. Would you mind just introducing yourself? And welcome.
Hi, I'm Simone Millett. I'm a junior student representative.
Thank you. And do you have any report for us?
Very short today. So term 2 has now ended. Grades will be available this Thursday, February 12th. And then junior prom will take place March 13th at the Black Swan in Georgetown. Tickets are available for purchase in the cafeteria during all lunches, and students will be required to take the provided transportation to and from prom. And that's everything I have for today.
Wow, that's it. Great.
Nice and short.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
You as well.
All right, next item on the agenda is our consent agenda, and I believe we have a motion.
Move that the school committee approve the minutes of the January 27th, 2026 school committee meeting.
Second.
Ooh, thank you for that quick second. One of our school committee members, Pete Davis, who usually seconds, is not. All right, the motion has been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? All right, unanimously passes. Next item on our agenda is budget items. And do we have any business reports?
We do. Sorry, I'm zooming in tonight. We have snow in New Hampshire this evening. Tonight, you have the financial report in front of you from July 1st, 2025 through January 31st, 2026. We have an available balance about $2.2 million, which is just under 4% remaining. We are getting to the critical months, the last quarter of the fiscal year, so our balances are really coming down. We're going to be talking about a budget freeze probably right before February school vacation in order to freeze the non-salary and non-emergency lines, just to make sure that we are spending accordingly. If you'll also look at the grant page, that has just over $300,000 remaining for the rest of this fiscal year, primarily the METCO grant. And the last page is the revolving accounts. That has about $2.9 million remaining. The majority of that is still the school lunch program, which has still to make some capital purchases for this year. But that's it through January 31st, 2026. Does anyone have any questions?
Kevin.
Christine, I'm just wondering, because I was kind of curious about a potential freeze at some point. So you brought that up earlier. But something, just because I was just talking about it in my own life, is heating fuel. And I was looking at the balance that we have here. And with the temperatures being what they've been for so long, how are we doing in terms of the heating fuel and the cost the associated costs for that?
Well, you can see we encumbered for the year. So if you can see in the encumbrance column, so we had a budget to start of just over $700,000, and we've spent out. So we haven't processed our January bills yet. They'll get processed in February, but we've spent $150,000. But we've encumbered over $563,000 for the remainder of the year. Now that's in line with previous years, but like you said, it's been particularly cold. If we had to, we'd have to do a budget transfer to move between lines in order to make sure that we don't go over budget in that line. But as you'll see in the contracted services line, we do have lines that are over budget. For things for critical positions that we couldn't fill, we had to outsource with agencies. So it's pretty typical to have lines at this time of year to go over, but at the end of the fiscal year, we'll talk about, transfers in order to make the bottom line whole. But again, we have bottom line authority to make sure that we don't go over budget. But when I was talking to Doug today about a budget freeze, it's because we've seen a dramatic increase in special ed tuition costs. We're trying to prepare from now until June, and we're seeing a real increase in those amounts of money. So it's not just out of district tuition costs, it's the transportation for those students as well. It's probably a 12% increase over last year. And we'll be talking a lot about this when we are presenting the fiscal 27 budget, which we are really, in the throes of. We've met with all the department heads, all the principals. We're finishing up our school-wide Zoom calls to talk to staff and all stakeholders. We're packaging that document, and we'll have the budget book for you right after school vacation week. But transportation, particularly special ed, is one of our large cost drivers, not just for 26, for 27 as well. But thank you for that question, Kevin, because it's true. It's the utility costs, it's a fixed cost, but it's always going up every year.
Yeah, and I saw the gas and light department just said that they're going to continue to increase. But yeah, I saw the $1,700. So it's good not to know that that's not exactly what's left to pay for.
That's just what's not encumbered.
Right, okay.
We have purchase orders for the 563.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Oh, Christine, I have a question.
Sure.
So when you say budget freeze, what does that mean, like, in practicality, in terms of like how we change operations for the rest of the year?
So what we'll do is we'll send out an email to department heads and principals and just let them know it's discretionary spending. So in terms of supplies, materials, paper costs, things of that nature, we'll hold on a temporary freeze right now while we assess all the other lines. But of course, we'll still have special education purchase orders that will have to be processed, facilities costs in terms of any emergencies that could come up due to the elements outside or things like that, we will still process. Now, this doesn't affect grants, revolving accounts, or any other lines. It's just the local budget that we've typically held at this time of year while we're reassessing all of our lines. But we wouldn't freeze anything in terms of staffing, any vacancies. Of course, we would still have to fill those vacancies. What we're seeing now is we're posting for a lot of long-term subs for people who are going out on leaves.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you for the business
You're
report.
welcome.
I think we have a motion.
Yes. Move the school committee approve payroll warrants 28, 30, and 32.
All right, motion has been seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? It passes unanimously. And do we have any gifts today?
No.
No gifts? All right. All right, thanks, Christine. Hope you don't get too much
Thank
snow up in
you.
New Hampshire.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. All right, bye-bye. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, next on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Thank you so much, Kevin. With your permission, I'd like to take my items out of order and invite our team up to talk about kind of elementary progress, intervention, and kind of a quick data update. You want to come up?
Great. While they're getting settled in, I just wanted to introduce, we have Lisa Tibbetts is our elementary STEM curriculum coordinator. Valerie Drynan is our elementary humanities curriculum coordinator. And Matt Carter is here as our principal rep from the Woodville School. So yes, in preparing for the meeting tonight, Doug and I were talking just about some, highlights we have and new information for the committee. I did want to share, before we get into the elementary piece, just some movement that we've made in terms of our curriculum leadership team looking ahead to next school year. We're looking at a bit of a reorganization of those positions to kind of mirror what we have at the elementary. We're finding that the scope of our work is, it's broad, and that a leveled, focused approach, highly collaborative with the level principals, will work out pretty well for us in the years to come. So what we wanted to highlight for you tonight what this model looks like in action, as it's been a couple of years at the elementary level, having a humanities coordinator and a STEM coordinator, humanities covering ELA and social studies, and STEM covering the science and math technology. And we're going to be looking to do that same model in 5 through 8 to look at Galvin, working closely with the Galvin administration, and then in 9 through 12 as well. So that's a change that has come up in the last couple of weeks that we haven't had a meeting to share that with you. So we're pretty excited about that. We think it will allow the building-based level support to really dig in on the specific things that we're trying to work on. I also wanted to highlight tonight as well just what's going on at the state level, and in terms of the literacy bill right now that is being discussed, Department of Ed and their heavy push on high-quality instructional materials. That's been going on for several years, and I think we're all pretty proud of the work that Wakefield has done in just staying in touch with that work. I think we do believe in a lot of what is being discussed at the state and department level in terms of the benefits for students. And so we thought anytime you have initiatives like that where, there's a heavy push to align curriculum, we're really focused on K-8 alignment in the years to come, thinking about that strong foundation for students to get them ready to then go up to the high school, where there's more of a focus on career and college and readiness in that way. So we're going to continue to build that up. We've started at elementary, and so tonight we thought we would highlight what that has looked like, the systems that we've developed to support that work, and how it's benefiting our students is really kind of the point of tonight. So we wanted to share the information on the reorganization and then give the elementary a chance to speak to their work. If I missed anything, let me know. No. But you'll fill it in the gaps, I'm sure.
Thanks for the introduction. The first thing we wanted to just kind of talk about was the alignment of the work that's happened over the last 5 years. So we're telling this in a short version tonight, but this work has happened over the last 5 years. Are we able to move the slides?
Yeah, we're looking for the
I'm working on that for you.
I was like, I'm trying. Do you want to do it yourself, Al, or do you want me to do it?
You can do it.
Fine. Sorry about that.
So we've done this work across both math and literacy. Tier 1 instruction is the instruction that all students get, right? And so Kara already mentioned HQIM is high quality instructional materials. That's been a focus at the state level for a few years, and we were fortunate in Wakefield over the last 5 years to capitalize on some of the grants that were provided through the state for both math and for literacy in our HQIM adoption. No, we're still, yeah.
I don't know why that went ahead.
Okay.
Sorry.
What's
going on?
So we started 5 years ago with implementing our new math curriculum at the elementary. We spent a heavy focus for 2 years on PD. School improvement plans were aligned to math. We brought in math intervention at that time. And then, after that first 2 years, we needed to make a change in our EL.
I don't know why it keeps clicking. I'm sorry. It just keeps going
It
back.
might be on like a time.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We're still on, we'll be on the slide.
We'll be on this for a little bit.
So we then moved toward resetting our foundational skills curriculum, which focuses on that phonics instruction and phonemic awareness, leading into our ELA review, which landed in the adoption of EL core literacy curriculum. It's okay. We're fine.
We're good. We're good.
We can
Yeah,
talk.
just keep going. Yeah.
The EL core literacy curriculum, which we were also fortunate to be able to implement across classrooms. So really our focus at elementary over the last few years was to build consistency across the 4 schools and across classrooms within a school and within a grade level, and like vertically K-4 as well. So that has been a big part of our focus. I'm going to actually pass it over to Matt because this work has happened collaboratively between the curriculum coordinators and the principals working together. And part of this work has been a restructure of our data meetings.
So the principals have worked very closely with both Val and Lisa to really align kind of what we're doing. So we have done a nice job collecting data through Dibbles, through iReady, to look at literacy and math. But we always haven't done a great job being consistent with the structures. So now we are consistent with that structure. We follow a template, we follow the same agenda, and all teachers across the district kind of have a similar experience. Every school obviously puts like their own twist on things, but to my point, the discussions around students are very similar, and how students enter into intervention and those conversations around intervention and the structures we put in place for intervention are very similar now. Which is great, and that's a testament to kind of our work together. And you've seen the principal team up here. Part of that work is us, and part of that work is us plus these wonderful people here. So, and then of course, obviously the teachers, right? So implementing the plans. So we are in a phase right now where we are looking at mid-year data. So we had our beginning of year data. Now the last few weeks we've been focused on collecting mid-year data, and now this week we are meeting as grade level teams at each of our schools. And those meetings will happen this week. And we are talking about students top to bottom across a grade. So we're talking about students that maybe have IEPs and receive services through that. We're talking about students who have very high data points, right, and what kind of those extension possibilities are for them. And then we're talking about students who there are variations in their data points. So if a student is in kind of our yellow category, which our yellow category is maybe there's some gaps in kind of their learning or progress, we're talking about how we can kind of supplement kind of their instruction to fill those gaps. So the discussions we're having are really great. We've also been very fortunate to kind of get a chunk of time during the school day. That chunk of time has been about 2.5 hours at the bigger schools. And in that 2.5 hours, we're splitting it up amongst literacy and then math. And we are being really intentional with those conversations and trying to discuss both topics. Lisa had a chance to come to Woodville today and was able to kind of, sit in one of our meetings today to see what that looks like. I don't know if she thought we were shortchanging math or not, but we're not.
They were.
Yeah. So, but that also speaks to kind of, like what we're talking about the structure and what we're trying to put in place, right? So they're part of the conversations. I also do want to mention that other people kind of in these conversations beyond grade level teachers would be our ML teachers, our speech and language teachers, our special education coordinators at the elementary level. So we're all kind of sitting around talking about students, and some of us have information on one child, but maybe not a lot on another. So kind of as a team, we're definitely discussing students and their progress throughout the year. And of course, there's a lot of highlights, and then there's a few, questions about what a student's getting and or not getting, and how we can kind of remedy that moving forward, because we're not quite at the 100th day yet. Our kindergartners would tell you that's on Thursday, but we're at that point in the year where we really now need to kind of drive instruction home and across the finish line for the school year. So.
And I think a key to the work that Matt just mentioned is that we used to find that we would have kids kind of bouncing in and out of intervention. And part of this shift in the structure is we are looking at multiple data points. So we're looking at 3 testing periods of data points for students. So we're looking at historical data. And as Matt said, we now have curriculum coordinators at the table. We have special ed coordinators at the table. So we have a variety of people plus all the teachers and support staff. Part of that entry criteria alignment was to get consistent entry criteria no matter what school you're at. So we're looking at this data as like, how are we serving our highest needs kids in the district? And then how do we bucket those kids, as Matt said, to like look at who needs the highest amount of support and who needs some extension, and all along that progression. We've also implemented consistent resources and strategies for intervention across the district in both math and literacy. So now we wanted to just kind of highlight where we're at mid-year this year. Is that going to move or no? Yeah, okay. Wasn't sure.
We're not sure.
So this is our current status, middle of year, where we're at right now. So DIBBLES is our universal screener benchmark assessment that that measures our foundational skills progress, so phonics, phonemic awareness, all those basic foundational literacy skills. Currently, at middle of year this year, we have 75.3% of our students performing at or above benchmark. In iReady Reading, that assessment really addresses more of the skills that we're teaching in our EL core literacy curriculum. So vocabulary, comprehension, informational literature, text. And right now we have 70.4% of our students scoring at or above grade level on that assessment.
You can see that in math, we have 56.9% of our students achieving at or above grade level. And a little bit different from literacy, the way that the math curriculum is laid out over the year is linear. And so we have our teachers somewhere around their 4th or 5th unit of math out of maybe 8 or 9 for the year. So there have been things like geometry that has not yet been addressed at any grade level, some measurement units. The 4th grade has not yet started division. So a little bit of the difference that we're seeing between ELA and math, I think we can attribute to students just haven't learned that part of the curriculum yet. Where in ELA, it tends to spiral the same themes from Unit 1 all the way throughout the year, and they grow in that way. I'm going to keep talking about math if we can go to the next slide now.
I'm going to try.
Can I have one thing?
Sure.
These are like the truest data points we've had in a long time. So because of the way we ran our assessment cycles this year, we did like a 3-week intervention at the beginning of the year. And that prevented some students entering into intervention that maybe wouldn't have belonged there. Maybe there was some level of like summer slide or whatever. So we actually gave students kind of like a boost, you know, to start the year, assess them for where they were at, and then those students entered kind of into our beginning of year intervention. And these data points that we have here are like a really true indication of where students are actually achieving. And it's probably the most reliable and valid data we've had in my time here. Sorry if I stole a...
Yeah, no worries. And so if you look at the right side of the screen for the Math iReady graph, we were able to go into Open Architects, which I'm sure you're all aware of at this point. It's our new data dashboard, and kind of make some comparisons about where we are at in our middle of the year data. And so highlighted in yellow up there, you can see our middle of the year data from this year, furthest to the right. And then in the middle, that's our middle of the year data from last year. You can't see on the graph, but we were able to dig back into Open Architects back to the prior year, 23-24, where we had our students achieving at or above grade level at 52%. And then jumping up to the 24-25, it was 55%. And jumping up to this year is 57%. And so we just want to kind of point that out to say that our focus the last couple of years has very strongly been on literacy. And because elementary is responsible for teaching so many things, we don't have the opportunity really to do extensive professional development in all of the content areas at one time. So our focus has been on literacy, but we have still been able to maintain kind of this steady achievement in math across those 3 years. And I'll also say that with that middle of the year number being around 60%, it appears that we would be in line to reach the same level of end of the year achievement as last year, which was 77.5% of our students at or above grade level.
Awesome. So looking at the same graph for literacy, we compared winter of last school year to winter of this school year, and you'll see that, and this is literacy, this is iReady literacy, so this is focused on those core literacy skills. And so we have made a 5% increase since last winter in our students performing at or above benchmark. And when you look back, same as Lisa just said, to the previous winter of 23-24, we had 60% of our students scoring at or above. So we have, over the last 2 years, increased our students at or above by mid-year by 10%. So that being said, same as Lisa was just referencing there, our end of year data point last year, we ended the year with 81% of our students at or above grade level. So we would be on track to meet or exceed that number again at the end of this year. All right, and I think we're going on to next steps. So, and I can start talking about this before the slide goes. It's fine. So the next steps for literacy, what we're really looking at next, right? We've made some good growth the last few years. We're always looking for where we can continue to improve. As Matt and I talked about earlier, we've done a lot of work around our intervention services in literacy and aligning those across the district. What we have been doing for the last year now, we started last winter, is really looking at matching our staffing to where the needs are. So our reading team has worked collaboratively. Principal team has worked collaboratively. We look at the district-wide DIBELS data together and make sure we're looking at highest needs across the district and match our interventionists and our reading specialists to where those needs are. So we have had people shifting and everybody has kind of worked as a team to address that. So we're looking at continuing to do that. We know we're in the throes of data meetings right now. We're looking at that again right now. That was a big topic of conversation today. And then the other thing we are looking at doing is right now we have consistent amounts of intervention for K-4. And with our shift in the work we've done, we're really seeing less kids needing intervention in 3 and 4 now, which is a great thing, right? And that means we need to figure out a way to shift more of our focus around intervention to K-2. So how do we get more intervention in K-2 while still maintaining some level of intervention in 3 and 4 for those kids that are still showing that need? Because there's always going to be, the kids that move in or the kids that are still, needing that support. So that's really what we're looking at next in literacy, and I'm going to pass
Next steps for math is we're back to a curriculum review. This time entering into our next curriculum review for math, we are not going in with the goal of changing our curriculum as we're still using IM, which is endorsed by the state as HQIM, and the teachers who are teaching it and feeling successful with it are seeing results in their classrooms and feel pretty good about it. So our goal for the curriculum review will be to refine kind of our practices, especially for teachers who are not yet feeling as successful as we had hoped. Given that we've kind of taken this block of time and given it to literacy, we're going to take some of that back next year. So we're going to take a look at what we need to do with IM to meet the needs of all of our students. So during the review, we'll be looking at the structure of the program itself and identifying any gaps that teachers feel like might be there. Take a look at pacing and making sure that we're getting to all of the standards that we're supposed to get to at every grade level. We'll also be evaluating our supplemental materials as well as our digital resources to ensure that they're aligned with the standards and that we have consistency across all of the elementary schools and how we're using those and where we're getting those materials from. And we'll do a deeper dive into the accessibility for all students, along with extension opportunities that are so often overlooked. So we feel like by kind of holding on to our core curriculum and feeling good about it, this will perhaps give us a little bit more wiggle room to work on some of those pieces that when you're rolling out a new curriculum, people just aren't ready for yet. Lastly, we will continue to work on our intervention and aligning our intervention resources, kind of modeling the success that has happened with ELA. We're hoping that we'll find the same kind of niche moving forward with math.
And I'll just add to that around the math curriculum review. We've just been talking about the review potentially looking, a little different than the last review, which was all about selection and implementation, and breaking out again the different levels, thinking about a K-8 group, working on the math review, kind of reflecting on IM, how's it working, where do we need to tweak, where do we need to supplement, and then separating out 9 through 12 for their own separate math review. We're just finding just another example of the leveled needs that kind of come up at every level and where we need to focus our energy, or how we need to focus our energy differently. So that'll be the plan for next year. You'll hear more about the math review next year. But good. Any questions? We just wanted to give that quick update.
That was good, very good.
But definitely proud of the work that's happening, just district-wide, and just, feeling that no one can do all of this alone. So just wanting to highlight the team approach and between the principals, the curriculum leaders, the teachers, everyone rowing in the same direction. The work doesn't get done unless that's there. Did you have a question, Alex?
Yeah, no, the data looks great, and credit to what we do in the schools, or what you guys do in the schools. Just a quick question, maybe I missed it. Was there a change in number of students that were given the iReady assessment?
Yes,
So like it
yes,
might be something
great
you talked about
question, yes.
before, but it looks like just that difference in number of students from winter of last year to
Yes. So in
winter this year.
literacy, that's why we decided to highlight percents.
Right, it doesn't change the percentage. Percentages are percentages.
In literacy, we did not originally give iReady and K-2 for that first few years of the curriculum. And what we found as we were going through the data meetings that previous year was we had a lot of data on their foundational skills. Dibbles has a small assessment that does some comprehension, but it's a very minimal comprehension information. And so the teachers were feeling like they needed more information about the kids. So we brought K-2 on board with iReady. We had some teachers pilot it last year. So that's why the numbers also aren't exactly like just 3 and 4 in that. Like we had some K-1, 2 classes try it last year in the middle of the year. We had some classes that didn't try it mid-year but wanted to try it end of year knowing we were going to implement it in the fall. And then everybody took it K-4 this year.
The other question I had is that, you have DIBELS for, early literacy skills, right?
Yep.
Is there something that you've used along with the iReady math assessment for early math skills that, that kind of gives you another point, another data point to take a look at?
So in kindergarten, we're using ESGI, and they've been using that for
a while,
right? You've noticed I haven't
yeah.
spoken historically, as I haven't been part of that, but they are using it this year, and
been
we
around as
have
long as I've
not
been
really
principal,
brought
so
that
8 years.
information into our data meetings yet. In fact, maybe that is something that we should look at as a kindergarten data point. But other than iReady, we do not have another screener for math.
And one last question. Can you tell me what your win blocks look like currently? Like where the students go? Because I know we talk about intervention and shifting and moving, the need for intervention in different spots, different grade levels. What do your win blocks look like now? So how does our students, grouped? Are they grouped by skills? What does it look like for?
That's what we're talking about right now. So we're actually looking at how students are being grouped in the classrooms, K-4, and we're having kind of skill-based discussions, especially students that were maybe in an intervention before and maybe are now coming out of an intervention. What does that look like so they retain skills that maybe were taught or learned? So our reading team has come to those meetings, and they've kind of given some suggestions to the teachers, like this is a kid that would benefit from more work on sight words, or more work with suffixes or prefixes. So like the teachers are kind of right now thinking about groups of kids. In terms of students moving around class to class, we haven't done that in a while. I did challenge a group today to be creative because there was some data points that were sticking out in different classrooms that I thought those students could be brought together a couple times a week to work on specific skills. So I think we are at a point where we can go back to kind of some of those groupings around skill. But I do think teachers in classrooms are primarily right now responsible for actually pulling those kids together, small group potentially at a horseshoe table, and then other students working independently in the classroom, and then other students working outside the classroom with service providers or with interventionists or reading team members.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just one quick question. So this is capturing all elementary students at all the different schools.
Yep.
So I assume, which is appropriate for like this sort of presentation. I assume this is broken down by school, et cetera, by grade
Yes.
level as well.
So good question. So actually in our data meetings, the first part of the data meeting, what we do is each team meets as a grade level and we pull the district grade level data and then we pull their school grade level data so they can see how they as a school grade level team are comparing to the district goals, and then they go into their class level data and so they can look at school, district, class. We are looking at, like from our angle, also grade level, school breakdown within a grade level and how we can deploy support where it's needed. So.
But even like within those grade level meetings, like let's say at each school in particular, we are looking at our grade level compared to the district.
Yeah.
So you can see kind of where you fit in. Obviously your numbers are part of the district's numbers, but you can see sort of where you align to the rest of, Wakefield. And then from there, you then again go down another layer and look at your class, right? So within a grade level, there could be one class that is maybe a little, higher achieving. There could be one that, maybe needs a little feedback around, again, like you were mentioning, right? Some skill gaps.
Sure.
So there's always work to be done, right? And like data is not like a destiny thing, right? It's just like it's a talking point. It's a piece in time, a moment in time. But I think the mid-year is super important. It shows the work from the beginning of the year, and it gives us a chance to kind of regroup and push to the end. So.
And it's actually sparking really good conversations too, because like I was at a data meeting at Dolbear today, and one of the things that came up with a sticking point somewhere was like, well, is anyone else seeing success somewhere else with this? Okay, can we get them over there to go see that, right? And so like I think it's gonna, the more we do this, the more it's gonna continue to open opportunities of like, rather than feeling threatened by each other and like this, like we've had to delicately like weave this in each time we've updated the data meetings, we add another data point that like makes it's hard because data is personal. When you're a teacher, it's personal for all of us, right? Like we're all wanting the kids to do better and wanting to make sure that we're providing the right support to do that. And so, you know, I think by continuing to add that piece in, it's starting to create this environment where we can like, oh, what are you doing that's working that maybe I can learn from and vice versa, right?
There's been a shift. Teachers are very comfortable looking at data, and they're very comfortable looking at each other's data without judgment. And I've noticed that, and that's built around kind of trust and these continued conversations. And these conversations aren't just happening twice a year or 3 times a year. They're happening weekly in some cases around like their professional learning communities. They're looking at student work. They're looking at, you know, where a student may be struggling, right? So these conversations aren't happening kind of just within like 4 walls a couple times a year. They're happening a lot more often in a lot of our schools, which is great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions? Are you tracking cohorts over time? Like from like 2nd grade from 2 years ago to 3rd to 4th?
Yes. So one thing we can do, and they finally updated these reports on MClass this year, is we can compare like where like what well. This is kind of over time, where kids started and where, like, who has moved, right? So, like, all the kids that are well below when they start the year, we can start tracking now, like, the kids that came in well below, what percentage of them stayed in that well below category, what percentage have moved forward into the below, what have moved to on or above. And you can do that with each category. So we can look at the kids that were on benchmark at the beginning of the year and see if any dropped, right, or anyone up. And the good news about that, when we were just looking at this preparing for data meetings, is we did not have a lot of kids drop this year. So that was great news. As far as cohorts over time, we have not dug into that as deeply at this time. We did it with MCAS data back in the fall, but that's another data point we could definitely dig deeper into, I think.
I'm sure that that's something Open Architects can do for us if it already isn't there, but we haven't had a chance to dig into that yet.
Okay. Thank you.
One thing just connected to the last question is that with Open Architects, there may be thought, or have you guys discussed that along with looking at other historical data of specifically student interventions as kind of like tracked over time, which is something that's very difficult, right? Year to year, they're seeing maybe the students gotten similar interventions and different skills over time, and they haven't moved. So that's a question that we had recently about Open Architects is their ability to take those interventions and give historical data, not just on like, you know, where they've progressed over so many years and where they were historically, but where you can see their specific interventions over time might be a little help to move those students that you don't see moving. Right.
The timing of your question is very ironic because we just like, do you want to talk about it?
We just met with them this week to really start to dig in with our intervention dashboards and kind of ask them to do some work around the data that we've already been collecting. And so we're at the very base level of that. And so figuring out how to get our data from last year and this year, we had really good trackers that we made on our own into their system so that we can look at those types of things. But it's allowing us now to use the data about intervention, even as basic as attendance. So we're providing these interventions. Here's what the standards that we're covering in the interventions. And now we have this kid who's not making progress. So we're bringing them forward in an SST meeting or something at the school level. And we're able to say, you know what, even though we're providing this, the kid hasn't shown up to it, or there have been things that have gotten in the way. Or they have had 10 sessions on this and we are not able to move them past it. So we're just beginning to look at the data that way and be able to use it in a meaningful way in our meetings that when we're talking about how we can help kids.
These interventions work though. Like if you look at like this year, at at Woodville in particular. Like, we had a group of kindergartners who that were scoring in the red pretty low, and we actually brought them in to intervention as an additional group. We had a piece of time in our schedule that we could do this, and to see those students go, not just stay in red, but go to yellow, go to green, go to blue. We had a student go to blue, which is incredible, really, right? And then, today in our 4th grade meeting, we talked about all the students that are in green or blue that have received intervention at some point in their career at Woodville.
Yeah.
And like to see their data points, hold, you know what I mean? And to see like them appear to be ready kind of for Galvin after at some point in their Woodville career being kind of in that red bracket or yellow bracket and needing intervention is a pretty powerful conversation to like the work that's happening and the conversations that are happening day in. It brings it to light for you, right? Like, these are students who at one point we were talking about needing additional support who are now really thriving kind of in a gen ed classroom. And it's just exciting to celebrate that work because we don't always talk about those students, right? Those students we've served them, you know what I mean? But to bring it back to this is why we do the work, because these students we're talking about today that are in red, someday hopefully will be kind of students that are success stories for us, is kind of what kind of I feel motivates people to do this work.
Yeah, you're talking about interventions like at the beginning of the year, right? When you get when you take that first assessment.
Correct.
Like whenever I look at like the iReady, beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, I always think about the summer and the learning loss, right? So I kind of look at like what kids are dropping from that end of the year, 3rd grade to beginning of year, 4th grade. But one thing I'd be curious to look at data-wise would be the kids that are going to the summer programs that are designed to kind of like keep the flow. I'd kind of be curious to see, because if we could actually prove that, let's say you look at these 30 kids that went to this program, if you could actually look and see that the decline from end of the year was less, the slope was different than students that didn't go, I think that'd be an interesting data point to give to the community, like when you have parents that are deciding, do I want to.
Are you talking about the academy program or the special ed summer? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, really, like any intervention that would, any programs offered in the summer that could mitigate that loss. I always think of learning loss in the summer. A lot of parents.
And that's why you did it for you.
That is why this was the first year we tried. So usually when we do our beginning of year data, we assess in those first couple weeks of school.
Yeah.
And then what we were finding was we had kids going into intervention, and then like a few weeks later, they were like, wait a minute, why is this kid in intervention, right? And so I think that what Matt spoke to earlier about like delaying that 3 weeks gave time for kids that just needed like that refresh of getting back into routines, getting back into school, gave us some more accurate data there. Those would be interesting data points to track. I know we are tracking because we're doing the boost programs after school.
Just to keep you in the loop too, we're still working with Wakefield Academy to run our boost programs, which have happened in either ELA or math. The grade level we choose is largely dependent on the data and just where we think we need a group of kids, not students who are getting intervention during the day or getting special ed services during the day, just kids that are a little need a boost. just need that little bit of a boost to get to the next level. If you want to describe the criteria more, but I know it's a collaboration. What we've worked to do is have it be a collaboration between Wakefield Academy and our curriculum team so that it's really targeted after school support. And it's nice because we do it across a grade level, and we post it and highly encourage the student's classroom teacher to be the one to teach it. So that's really the beauty of that program is we get a lot of our classroom teachers that want to do it, and then they have their own students. They already have the relationship, the rapport, so they can just kind of get right into it. And the kids like it, even if they're staying after school to do extra. They're with their they're at the elementary age where they want to be with their teachers more. So it's good.
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So I know that the committee knows this, but for those people that are watching, I think if you were to compare this conversation that we had this evening, this presentation, to conversations or presentations that we've had in years past about intervention and data, I think the school committee understands that there's a distinct difference between this conversation and conversations that we're having in the past. What you're hearing from from Val, from Lisa, from Matt, is that we're kind of learning how to do this better. They're developing an expertise by doing this, right? In years past, we used to get a data point, and if someone, was tested at the beginning of the year and they were on grade level, then they were on grade level, and it wasn't a lot of kind of eyes on that child over the course of the year. That's completely changed. That has completely changed. Even Matt's point about, bringing kids in, especially our kindergartners, right? When we initially did dibbles with our kindergartners, we had a lot of students in red. There was this grave concern that they're kind of being overly identified in the red because they're just not ready. They're just not ready for school. They just haven't kind of hit their pace yet. So Matt shared, we did a short intervention before we assessed them, and then we kind of got more accurate data, right? Like that's a real-time example of learning by doing, right? And so Kara's point as well about Boost. We have Literacy Boost and Math Boost. And, this is the tenets of that program. Having your classroom teacher provide that support is not by accident. It's very similar kind of principles and practices to our Acceleration Academy that we do with our kindergartners, right? By having classroom teachers provide the support, it's not like they have to go to a tutor and the tutor has to learn the math program or the literacy program, and there's a delta, and kids can often get frustrated because they'll say, this is not what we're doing in class, this is different. Well, it's not different, right? So what you heard tonight, and I know it's just a snapshot, but it is, we're doing intervention differently, right? And we're also looking at growing this model from elementary to middle, right? To try to make some greater gains at the middle. So there'll be more information forthcoming there. I don't know if I'm missing anything, Kara. But, I feel like Val and Lisa and Matt, they're kind of matter of fact about this, but there's don't mistake their kind of calm delivery to the amount of work behind this is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah. The other part, and it's unfortunate Stephen Ingalls isn't here, because Stephen was one of, and I think you asked the same, Kevin, around, I would be interested in kind of what a dashboard looks like, or what data looks like over time. Well, we're starting to share that, right? We're starting to share that. And the administrators are also collecting data as well. We're looking at attendance and grades to see, because with Open Architects, you can kind of plot trends. So for example, you can co-group kids together. Please give me a group of students whose attendance might have dropped off in the last 2 weeks or a month, and their grades have also dropped off. So we can intervene real time. So we're getting much better in this space. I don't want to in any way, shape, or form imply that we are there. We're not there. But we are dramatically better than we were a year ago.
Yeah, and just recently too, we had a goal of by January that all of our teachers would have access to Open Architects, and that just recently was released as well. So now all of our teachers have they're kind of playing around with it, getting familiar with the tool, with the dashboard and their own students' data. So that was a good step for us too. It wasn't just administration and curriculum leadership who had access. So now all the teachers have access.
So
more
thank
to come
you.
there. Yeah.
Much appreciated.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So they're so good. They're like, our secret weapon here, right? Like, so when districts ask us, when we go to meetings and districts ask us, like, how do you do this? We do it through our curriculum people, through our kind of curriculum leadership group. It just really, they're just doing really, really nice work. So I will
Absolutely.
let that stop there. Any questions that anyone has in terms of information that was shared from the presenters or for Kara and I in regard to where we are currently with this work?
No, do you mind if I take my comment out of order?
Sure.
Because it just is completely what just got presented. So
Sure.
It just might make sense.
Sure.
Okay. So in my comments, I've been thinking a lot about this over the last couple of months. You know, as a school committee, we always look at assessment, right? We're always looking at this data regarding iReady scores and MCAS scores. And then we talk about curriculum, right? We have all these curriculum presentations. You guys do curriculum review and you present them to us, you know, for us to look at. And one thing that, you know, as a teacher and having constant conversations over the years with curriculum leaders is, and again, great work. Like I'm not denigrating anything about curriculum, but instruction, meaning the actual stuff that happens inside the classroom, is often just not like discussed. It's not brought up as much, right? And you know, I equate it to like, look at the Super Bowl, right? You could have the most brilliant plan. You could have the most brilliant strategic game plan. You could have the most brilliant minds in the world coming up with this great idea. If it's not executed on the field, in the football analogy, or in the classroom, it doesn't matter. You could have the most brilliant mind in education, and it comes to nothing if it's not executed in the classroom. And I think that one thing that Dr. Lyons has been talking about this year, and I'm sure it might have been happening in previous years, but I know this year, there's been a greater focus on having walkthroughs, on having administrators like walk through classrooms and actually observe what's going on inside the classroom. And as a teacher in my district, one thing that's always frustrated me is that I've always wondered why that is just not like just a common practice. And one thing I've always fought for is to have teachers walk into each other's classrooms to see what works and what doesn't. And I think that, and I just want to say, good job with doing the walkthroughs and doing it and having it done in a structured way. And I really think that, like, when we talk about, it's almost like we always talk about levels C and B, but we don't talk about A. And I know it's hard. You can't really talk about that at a school committee meeting. Like, we're not going to have a demonstration of a lesson like in front of us. But I think we all intuitively know, like when we ask our kids, like, ooh, what'd you learn in class today? It's like they're not talking about, well, the iReady test was the middle of the year and I went up by 10 points. They're going to talk about what happened in the classroom, and that's what they that's what they come away with. And I think that that's really the key. And I always think that in the end, like, it's that day-to-day what's happening, inside the classroom. And I do think that classroom visits and having teachers look at each other and having, administrators walk in, in a, So I just think that that's really where it is.
Oh, I completely-
we don't have to like
completely
reinvent. We don't have to. This isn't like some grand statement. But in the end, I almost think that just because of where we are, we just talk about that big picture stuff. When in the end, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 15 minutes of solid instruction in a classroom, like in that 15 minutes, you could, all that. So, sorry, interrupted.
Can I just say
but-
something to it?
Yeah.
To what you're saying? Just thinking about, like, I definitely agree with everything you just said. I think Doug has highlighted too in earlier meetings about a heavy focus on instructional practices in terms of strategy for our district. I think what was so important was just leveling the playing field, making sure that everyone had access to common curriculum, common expectations were set, so that when we do the curriculum instruction visits, that everyone knows what to expect. Like, you can go into a second grade class anywhere in the district, and if it's during the core literacy block or the math block or science might be happening, and we now all are on the same page in terms of knowing what our kids are getting for an experience. And I think the work takes so much time. We've probably been at this for about 6 years in terms of getting on the same page with curriculum cohesion and that sort of thing. But the instructional piece is huge, and the implementation piece is huge, because you're right. You can't just say, oh, here's HQIM. Have fun, do the thing. Like, it is so intense in terms of the conversations that have to include the teachers, their feedback, they do, a lot of the resources do have in the, built in the common instructional routines that carry over year to year. It just allows better conversations when everybody's kind of working in the same direction and on the same page. So kind of what they were saying earlier around the idea of grade levels coming together and saying, oh, who did it that way or who did it that way, and then having really focused, targeted things to go in and watch. We definitely want to build that up more. This is our first year doing curriculum and instruction walks where we're trying to just get an eye on, again, the experiences that our kids are having in the classroom. And also, we've talked about from an administrator lens, it's hard to know everything about every content area and what to expect. So we're trying to also educate leadership too in terms of what each department's working on and things like that. So yes, the instruction piece is huge. I think you're absolutely right. The experiences that kids are having in the classroom. And I think aligned curriculum doesn't necessarily mean that there can't be fun, there can't be, an own teacher's spin on things, because that's really what kids remember is the experience they had with their teacher in the classroom, for sure. But it definitely takes a lot of time. And you have to have a long-range goal for any kind of change.
Agree. Amen. Right. So you're right. And so Kara's point is important because if high quality instructional materials are required, that's step one. And it's probably like a 90-10 or 80-20, depending on the day or what's happening, meaning that important cornerstone of the high quality materials in the curriculum has to be in place. Supporting the teachers to use that and watching them create, there's really nothing like it. There's really nothing like it. We were in science classes this week.
I think it was last week.
We were in science classes late last week. Was it last week?
It's all blurry.
We were recently in science classes, and we're in a physics class, and watching students, do a displacement activity, but learn the physics and the math around. Okay, what does a falling object look like? Right? If you drop something and something's moving at a horizontal velocity, they fall at the same rate. Right? So students had to figure out. They were doing a lab. So they had a track, they had like a Matchbox car, they had to run a car down a track, and the car had to go through a ring, right? But they had to make a perfect measurement on the ring for this prediction. And the teacher walked over and said, oh, you ready for the ring of fire? And I thought, well, that's funny. And until he lit, like I had a grill lighter, and I thought, I'm quite sure I shouldn't be witnessing this, but he lit the ring, and it was burning, and the kids put it through the ring, and it was like the ring of fire. It's part of their activity. And please, it was safe. I don't want to imply that it wasn't safe. But kids this was a super fun activity, and the teacher created that. The teacher created that. So the materials were there, the content was there, the instruction was there, but the teacher created that. Right? And that's one of 5 rooms that we were in that were doing activities like this. Kids were learning gas laws, and I've never seen kids so excited to talk about gas law because they were talking about kind of real time how things that they were curious about and then making a connection to the content. So, that's just a snapshot. I won't go more deeply into that, but we agree. We agree that instruction is kind of the next level for us in terms of how, we're going to continue to make improvements. It is going to be to focus on exceptional instruction that's happening real time by our teachers right now. And you're right. How do we share that? How do we get people to think together and also think about who the students are and what kind of engages them? We can talk more about this, but
we've started
exciting stuff.
Just opening the door to teachers being part of the walkthroughs as well. We've started with department coordinators and curriculum liaisons at Galvin joining, and we have a curriculum leader team at the elementary too who have also done this. So we're just trying to think about scheduling and how to open up the door for more of that because it's professional development as well. It's some of the best PD you can probably get is to work together, and that's what we're focused on for next year's professional development to really look at each level and dig deeper and have time together, sharing ideas and just going deeper in the unit planning and benefiting from working with our colleagues. So that's our plan for next year.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, sorry to interrupt.
No, I
No,
think
we
it's
appreciate
it's an exciting topic for us to be able to talk about. So we appreciate your thoughts, and I think we agree. So do you want to continue with yours?
No, you go.
All right.
Finish yours.
So just comments and updates. So it's a busy time of year. We want to give a shout out to our facilities director, Tim O'Brien, and all of our custodians who worked kind of overtime over the weekend. I think we got a note out to the community, and many people know we had a coil break and an overhead line that flooded 20 classrooms. And so on Super Bowl Sunday, we had 25, 30 people here cleaning up classrooms, moving furniture, making sure everything was squared away and secure and safe. So they worked probably about 8 or 9 hours on Sunday. I'm sure many missed the Super Bowl. Probably good thing that they did miss it. A little hard to watch Patriots in that space. Excuse my bias, but special thanks to Tim O'Brien and his team, and also to Amy McLeod and her administrative team, principals and assistant principals. They too convened on Sunday and kind of reorged all 20 of those classrooms. And our teachers were just clutch in that they all kind of taught out of different spaces. And, we were getting around to thank several of them. We weren't able to get to all of them, but to thank them for their flexibility. And many of them said, kids enjoyed it. It was like a change of scenery, and we just made it work. And we greatly, greatly appreciate everybody's flexibility. Yesterday, we had 20 classrooms that were down on Monday. We got 10 back up, and then tomorrow we'll be back 100%, and we'll be back online, and a repair has been made. Again, thank you to everybody that made that work. We also appreciate not having to take a day off and then have to make up that day later in the year. And so we appreciate their flexibility and everyone kind of making that work. It's also a very busy time of year. Athletics are in the throes of it. We know we had senior night tonight with girls basketball. They had a game against Wilmington that went to overtime. They have a lot of injuries, and they're having a tough go. They have one senior playing who is just working her heart out. And they went to overtime tonight and lost to Wilmington. I'm sorry to hear that, but they're working really hard, and kind of kudos to them and to our athletes at this point in the year. That's just some quick updates from me. I also shared with the committee, I need to notify you all, just as part of kind of our business, that the SEAM Collaborative, we are a member of SEAM Collaborative. I've shared this in our meetings. And because I'm a member and I'm a superintendent, I am on their board, right? So the member communities and the superintendents from those communities make up the board that oversees SEAM Collaborative. So we also have students that are accessing services at SEAM Collaborative. So I've provided some documents for you. The important kind of bit of information, just very quickly, is the FY26 budget. I gave an annual report for SEAM a couple meetings ago, but the FY26 budget, the current year we're in, was $45,770,260. The approved FY27 budget is $48,372,582. The increase is 5.67%, right? And so SEAM there is kind of not different than us as a district or other districts. They are getting a lot of pass-through costs for health insurance, for transportation, and for labor, and for a number of other things. To be able to keep their kind of increase at 5.67%, when health insurance has been so expensive, has been really a remarkable effort on their part. The cost for Wakefield is us as a member. The increase, so last year we spent $177,660. In FY27, we're forecasted to pay $186,300 for a 4.86% increase for us as a member district. And that number that I just shared, and the increase that I shared, is for services for students, right? And so the other important part, and if you look on page 6 or 7 of the document that I share with you in terms of the highlights, you will also see the cost savings. So SEAM does kind of a market analysis of what they provide for services and what if a student were in a private placement, what would it cost? So the $177,000 that we paid in FY26 and the projected at $186,000 that we are projected to pay for FY27 to support students through the collaborative to get those services in a private placement, not through the collaborative, would be 3 times that amount. So we're saving about $400,000 by contracting and doing the work that we're doing with SEAM. But I thought those were some important data points that good for the community to know, and it's particularly important for the committee to know, and to let you know what the budget is for FY27 for SEAM Collaborative. I've mentioned this when I provided the annual report. SEAM also is required to do an annual audit, right? So they have to provide information to their auditor. They kind of look at their entire budget, soup to nuts, and they've kind of successfully completed another audit this year as well. And the director there, Kathy Lawson, is really remarkably talented. And so we're lucky to be able to work with her and work with SEAM Collaborative. But that's just a point of information for the committee. No action needs to be taken, but just want to keep the committee and the community up to date on that information. Happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Anyone have any questions? Nope.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is my comments. So I got a phone call from Dr. Lyons this Sunday about the high school issue that he just talked about. And I was driving down from Maine with my son, and he told me that there were 20 rooms that were flooded on Super Bowl Sunday. So I was thinking, all right, cancel school. Because, and he's like, well, no, I think we're going to have school. I think we're going to make it work. And I said, okay. And I was just thinking about the feat of being first of all, the cleanup, like all the amazing work that was done with the cleanup. But just thinking about the organization that the principal had to do to make all that work with 20 rooms that were affected. And then you're convincing 20, however many teachers that were affected to just on the fly do their lessons in different rooms. I mean, if I got that, I'll be honest, if I got that email as a teacher at 5 o'clock, setting in to watch the game, what? I just want to say great job. That's, for those of you that don't work in a school, that's impressive. That was I think a pretty impressive thing that happened on Monday.
And equally impressive getting it out to families and students so they could prepare for the next day.
Yeah. The whole operation was, I thought, good. Really impressive exercise in emergency management. So yeah, so great job for everybody.
Thank you.
In that regard. And then I want to make a statement about our school community. So I prepared a written statement. So I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the camera. I'll be reading most of this. But I want to emphasize today the importance of community. In my remarks today. While residents of our town have disagreements over a variety of local issues, one of the forces that really unites our community, and I really do feel, personally strong about this, is our public school system. And I know there are other elements in our town that are agents of unifying us as well. Like we have a great parks program, we have places of worship. We have an amazing library, right? I'm not saying that it's all the public schools, but let's face it, our schools are one of the only areas in Wakefield where every child in our community has to interact with other children from different families. That's the nature of public school, right? We don't, kids are just with each other in these random ways. when they go into the school. And this, in the end, allows parents to meet other parents in our community that we would never have met before. I would never have met you people, like ever, like just randomly in Wakefield. So, in so many ways, public schools do this. Athletic events, concerts, our drama productions, end-of-year events, all of these serve as a bonding experience for our community. And the linchpin of all of this is our school system. And I don't think it's hyperbole or exaggeration to say that our school system is the glue that holds our community together. And that's just what I think about that. So I've received over the last few weeks a few communication from some community members that have reached out with concerns with events happening in our country, mainly around the enforcement of immigration laws. Mainly, their concerns to me was worry for their neighbors, who would be worried about the safety and well-being of their children. So they're basically worried about their community members. I just want to reassure everyone that all of our children, all races, religions, ethnicities, whatever characteristic you could dream of, all of our children have a right to a free and appropriate education, and are members of our community. Our building principals and school resource officers have received clear directives from the superintendent, who has received his directives and guidance from the Attorney General's office of Massachusetts to make sure that this is the case. Of course, if you have any specific questions or concerns, do not hesitate to contact Dr. Lyons, our superintendent. But I just want to make sure that everyone in the public knows that we all know that all of our children do belong to our great Wakefield community. That's it. That's the end of my comments. Next item on the agenda, we have our subcommittee reports. Tom Markham.
Well, that's a tough act to follow, Mr. Chairman, but
Oh, it's finance, come on.
so thank you for those remarks, though, and I couldn't agree more. We have not had a meeting since in the last week, but the Finance Subcommittee is meeting this Friday morning. So we'll have a report at the next meeting.
Thank you. Labor and personnel.
Great, thank you. Labor and Personnel continues to be pretty busy. Since our last meeting here as a group, we've met 3 times, January 29th, February 4th, February 9th. And we are scheduled to meet again on Thursday. Just making some incremental, I think, adjustments as we continue to work on the move to the new high school with the WEA, as well as the new bell schedule with the high school as well. So looking forward to continuing those discussions and continuing to make some progress towards both those goals. So those things have been going on. So we've been meeting frequently for that. And then, of course, today we met and were able to update the whole committee with our proposal for a contract extension for Dr. Lyons. So looking forward to continuing that discussion as well with the whole committee. That's what we're up to.
Thank you. Stephen Ingles is not here for student services. I assume they have not met. Going once, going twice. Okay. Next, policy and communications.
So we have a motion tonight to vote to approve Section B. Do you want to read the motion?
Move that the school committee approve Section B as presented.
Second.
All right, motion has been seconded. Open this up for discussion before we vote. Does anyone have any comments or questions about any of the policies that were revised in the book? Oh gosh,
All right.
no, none?
No questions, nothing. I mean, there were very few revisions.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
but I mean, there's
yeah.
a couple of additions, but nothing really.
I really did
monumental.
read through some of these. And,
Did you catch any typos?
no, there were a few of around the school committee itself that I was interested in, but yeah, no, I don't have any questions. I think it's all right. So we'll do a roll call vote. All right, Alex?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Regular vote.
What? Oh, we can just do a regular vote?
just do it.
Oh, fine. All right. All right.
Doesn't hurt.
You can do whatever you like.
No, it's fine.
Stand up, Father.
No. All those in favor? All those opposed? All right, motion unanimously passes. And now I do not. Thank you, Melissa, for that.
Yes, thank you very much,
Thank
Melissa,
you,
for all
because-
this. A ton of work.
Liaison reports. Do we have any liaison reports? All right, seeing none. Next, our next school committee meeting is Tuesday, February 24th at 7 o'clock. And yeah, so we have, next week is February break. So yeah, we'll pretty much be right back. School committee comments. Does anyone have any comments? I'm all out. So,
Just me over here.
Yeah, all right.
Have a safe week.
Yeah,
Enjoy vacation.
yes, have a great
And
break.
Thank you for the comments about making sure that all of our community members know that all of our kids are safe in school.
Oh,
That's right.
no
Here,
problem.
here.
No problem. All right, I think we have a motion to adjourn.
Move the school committee adjourn its meeting of Tuesday, February 10th, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor? All right, thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everybody.